everybody, it's Molly with AllEars, and I'm here today at the Magic Kingdom with a brand new video. Today we are going to check out every single ride in the park and rank them from absolutely must do to, ooh, you can probably skip that one, to help you plan your next trip to the Magic Kingdom. I hope you're ready, I hope you're excited. We've got a lot to cover, tips and tricks coming your way. Let's get to it. Before we even get into the countdown, we got to start with some honorable mentions. Those are going to be the Walt Disney World Railroad and the Main Street vehicles. Now, the Main Street vehicles have returned, but they're very sporadic and they're more of a magical surprise than they are a guarantee. They are not even listed on Magic Kingdom's map anymore. But these are original vehicles to the park, such as the omnibus and the trolley, and sometimes in the mornings you can actually ride them down to the castle. So that's a really fun, nice way to start the morning. A bubble. Just got distracted. Like a child. That's a really nice way to start the day if those happen to be running. But since they're not running all the time, Disney, again, doesn't even list them as something that's running. We can't include them on the list. The other one that we love here at AllEars is the Walt Disney World Railroad. Walt Disney himself loved trains. A lot of people even jokes that Walt only built Disneyland to have a bigger train set because he had one in his backyard. So every Magic Kingdom style park around the world has a train. It's something near and dear to Walt's heart. One of the last blueprints that Walt actually approved before he passed away were the blueprints for the train station here at Main Street. So before there was a Main Street, before there was even a castle, there was a train station. So because of that, we love the Walt Disney World Railroad. However, unfortunately, it's not running right now. It cannot run because of Tron. They have to change where the track goes. So until Tron opens, we won't get the train back. So we don't know when that'll even be. Someday soon though, but the train, a delight when it's open. So we gotta at least shout it out in this video. Now, as we move to our first ride, let me remind you, this is a ranking of all the rides in Magic Kingdom. So things like shows, entertainment, characters, those won't be included on this list. While I do heavily encourage you to meet Mickey Mouse and see shows like Enchantment and even shows like Mickey's PhilharMagic, this video is all about the rides. Coming in last place in the number 22 spot, I'm sorry Campbell, but it has to be the Magic Carpets of Aladdin. This is a spinner style attraction here in Adventureland, very similar to Dumbo, but it's just fine. If you've got little ones, this is a great attraction if they are into this kind of thing, or maybe they don't want to go on attractions that are nearby or they're not tall enough to. For that reason, it is great. I'm a big believer that every attraction serves a purpose in the park, and the purpose of this one is to give you another family ride for your little ones. But beyond that, it's definitely not a must-do for most people. You should certainly prioritize other spinner attractions like this in the park. So for most people, it's one you can just walk on by. Now, Magic Carpets of Aladdin does have Genie Plus. It is part of that with a lightning lane. I would not recommend using it. It usually has a very low wait, and it's a good filler ride in between some of the bigger attractions if you do want to choose this attraction. But again, most people can walk on right by this one, so for me, on my must-do list, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. I'm ranking everything on not only a giant ranking, but I'm also going to tell you on a scale of 1 to 5 stars if you should ride it or not, and for most people, this is a 2. Next up in 21, the Liberty Square Riverboat. Now listen, no offense to boats, I love a boat. It's incredibly relaxing and it's a nice little jaunt around the rivers of America. But for most people, it's definitely not a must-do. It's definitely not a priority. It does take about 20 or so minutes to get all the way around, so it also takes up a big chunk of your day if you've got a lot to do in the Magic Kingdom. Do you really want to spend 20 minutes just going around? That doesn't even count the unloading and loading process for the riverboat. However, I do think the riverboat is a little underrated because it does provide a nice scenic view of Frontierland and Liberty Square. You get to look at some things from different angles that you wouldn't notice otherwise. It is really paddling and moving its way around the river, so that's pretty exciting as well. I do find it to be very relaxing, so if you have a few minutes to kill, maybe you're trying to mobile order something, or maybe you just need a break, might as well take that break on the Liberty Bell Riverboat. It does usually leave on the half hour and the hour, so you can help time it out that way, but it's really not a must-do for most people, which is why I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Number 20 on our list, Astro Orbiter. Astro Orbiter is a spinning style attraction similar to Dumbo or the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, except for it gets bonus points because it is situated on top of Rocket Tower here in Tomorrowland. So you do actually get some very awesome views of Magic Kingdom, especially Tomorrowland. The problem with Astro Orbiter is that it has an incredibly slow loading and unloading. You actually have to take an elevator up there, wait for everyone to get situated in their rocket before you can soar. So it's honestly more of a hassle than it's worth, and it usually has an incredibly long line because of this. Also, it's a very tight squeeze if you try to get two adults in there. Let's just say this is not a first date activity. Astro Orbiter is fun, and it's definitely the most thrilling of these style of attractions because you're higher up and because of how it spins. It definitely feels like it's more intense than Dumbo or Magic Carpets of Aladdin. But because it's such a time suck, because it's not a must-do attraction on a lot of people's list, I don't think you need to prioritize this one. And for me, I would give this a 2 on the Molly Must Ride Stars scale. Number 19 on our list, the Tomorrowland Speedway. These are those small cars that you drive around the track in Tomorrowland, as the name would suggest. This attraction is fine. Now, I will say if you are a little kid that can't actually drive a car, this is very, very fun and very exciting. But if you're an adult who can actually drive the car, well, I wonder how well you can drive these, because I drive a car every day and I cannot drive these to save my life. The alignment's on or off or something, and I'm always hitting into the rails. So I do end up laughing and having a great time when I ride this attraction. To ride alone, you have to be 54 inches, but you only have to be 32 inches tall to ride in general. So if you've got a little one, they can ride with you as long as they're 32 inches tall, and then they can steer and you can press the pedals. But eventually they can have their very own car, which again, if you're a little kid, is very exciting. For me, this attraction is one that's not part of a best day for me. I would give it about a 2 on the must-do list. It usually doesn't have a long line, even though it does have lightning lanes, so it can be a good filler attraction if you've got little ones. But for most people, Tomorrowland Speedway, not a must-do. I don't know why I'm so bad at this. Next on our list, this one actually hurts my heart to be so low, but I get it. Number 18 is Prince Charming Regal Carousel. The reason it is so low is it is simply just a carousel, which of course you can do at dozens of places around the world. It isn't just, it's just a carousel. But it's a carousel in Fantasyland, which is why it hurts my heart, because sometimes there's nothing as wonderful as a simple carousel, especially when you get to look at the castle and spin around. If you get the horse with the golden tail, golden ribbon in its tail, that's Cinderella's horse, so that one's special. And I like the carousel a lot. It, again, reminds me of childhood. Walt Disney himself thought of Disneyland while watching his little girls ride on the carousel, which is like always sweet to me. But again, it is just a carousel, so most people probably don't need to prioritize it over some of the more unique attractions like your coasters and your dark rides and your omnibus. However, it doesn't normally have that long of a line, so you can usually score a ride on it without waiting too long, maybe filling in some of those more exciting attractions. For me, I'm going to give the carousel for most people about a 3. It's more of a delight to me than some of the things lower on the list, but you certainly don't want to prioritize it over your more signature Disney attractions. Next on our list, the Barnstormer starring the great Goofini. This is that children's roller coaster themed to Goofy flying around the circus in Storybook Circus. And it's designed to be your kid's first roller coaster. It's incredibly short, so if they don't like it, it's over before they know it. If they do like it, then you can advance to more exciting roller coasters like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Now, while the Barnstormer is very, very cute and it definitely lives up to its main purpose, it is certainly not a must-do for everyone. If you've got older kids that like thrill rides, they are going to find this boring. If you are not a little kid doing your first roller coaster, this is very likely a very skippable attraction for you. It does have a lightning lane, however, I will say that this one normally doesn't have that long of a line. It's a pretty busy day here today, and it only has a posted 25-minute wait. So it again is a good one to fill in some other attractions in between your bigger coasters and your more headliner attractions. For me, the Barnstormer is going to sit around a 3 as far as a must-do. I do think it's cute. I remember loving it as a little kid. However, it's certainly not a priority for me when I come to this park, and it's probably not a priority for you unless you've got kids in that perfect age range. The next attraction on our list is most like a show, but technically the theater moves, so I'm going to include it. if for no other reason to avoid being yelled at that this is technically a ride because the whole theater moves. Of course, I'm talking about the Carousel of Progress in Tomorrowland. This is that rotating theater that takes you through a 20-minute show with a family living through the 20th century, and you learn how progress and technology improves their lives along the way. This first made its debut at the 64-65 New York's World's Fair, and it was one of the first attractions to feature human audio animatronics along with great moments with Mr. Lincoln. For that reason, for the Disney history nerd in me, I love this attraction. Plus, the Sherman Brothers did the music, and I enjoy the song It's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. It is a 20-minute attraction, though. Once it starts, it cannot stop, even if you've got a kid screaming and crying, even if you need to get up to go to the bathroom. If you get up and leave, it has to reset the theater for safety reasons, so you have to watch the same scene over and over again. So, because of that, it's a very long attraction. Not everybody wants to sit for 20 minutes. However, it usually doesn't have a long line, so it's a great filler attraction. For me, Carousel of Progress is not necessary on a best day ever. I'm always going to enjoy it because I'm going to get to sit down, get a little air conditioning, and I do enjoy the story. But I think for most people, especially ones with little ones, this is not a top priority when you're at the Magic Kingdom. I would give this, for the average person, probably a 3 on the must-do list. But if you are a Disney history buff, if you are looking for something relaxing and sit down, then I think you could put this on your list and you'll enjoy it. Spinning into our number 15 spot, the Mag Tea Party, more known as the Teacups. These are those classic opening day attraction where you get into the teacups from Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Tea Party, and you spin around. That's it. It's a very simple attraction. It's an opening day attraction. It's definitely a must-do when you're a little kid, but for a lot of people, it is not a top priority when they're in the park. It doesn't have a height requirement. It does have a lightning lane. However, I definitely don't recommend prioritizing this one. It usually has a very, very low weight, especially compared to other things in Fantasyland. So it actually is a great filler attraction in between some of the other big rides around the park. For me, the teacups are not part of a best day ever. They're not a must-do for me every time I visit. However, if I'm bringing younger ones that haven't been to the parks before, if it's your first visit, it's certainly a lovely and nostalgic attraction that you can check out. So for me, I'm going to give the teacups, I think if you've never been before, probably a 4, but for most people, I would put the teacups on a 3 on Molly's must-ride list. Don't ride it after lunch. Flipping your fins won't get too far. It'll get you to the number 14 spot on our attraction, which is Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid TM. This is one of the newer attractions in the Magic Kingdom, and it is a dark ride that puts you in a clam-mobile, and then you go through the story of the Little Mermaid. I actually love this attraction. I find it to be a little bit underrated, honestly, because there are so many big Fantasyland attractions. You've got your Peter Pan's flights, you've got your Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and people sometimes forget about Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid, but it is a very cute attraction. I love any ride that puts you inside of a Disney movie. I don't even care what Disney movie it is. I'm going to enjoy that, and that's exactly what this does. It does have, spoiler alert, a gigantic Ursula animatronic, which is terrifying if you're me or a child possibly, but it is a very good animatronic. The only reason this one's not super high on the list is because I do think you should prioritize some of the more nostalgic and classic family rides over this one if you're coming for a first visit or you haven't been in a long time. But the good news is, while this attraction does have a lightning lane, don't need to prioritize that. It usually has a much lower weight than some of the other big, more popular rides in the park. So it's usually a great filler attraction that will really delight you while you're waiting for your lightning lane if you're using that for Peter Pan's flight or some of the mountains. So Ariel, you're swimming into spot 14, and for me on my list, I would probably give this a 3.5 on the must-do. I always enjoy this attraction. I always like this attraction, but it's not a must-do in my opinion. This may be a hot take, but lucky number 13 is the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. This is a little bit of an under-the-radar attraction, but it is certainly a crowd pleaser, and people that know about the People Mover love the People Mover. In fact, some people on our team said this was their number 1 hands-down best ride in the Magic Kingdom. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it is a great attraction. The People Mover is that highway in the sky around Tomorrowland, and it's a nice, long, and relaxing attraction. It's a great attraction to come kick your feet up during a busy Magic Kingdom day. You're actually going to go into Space Mountain, into Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. You're going to go past a model of Epcot, the way Walt envisioned it as an actual community people could live in. You're going to get some excellent views of the castle. Most of all, again, it's just a relaxing, calm attraction that normally doesn't have too long of a line, so it's a great filler attraction in between some of your bigger ones over here, like Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin or Space Mountain. The People Mover for me is certainly part of a best day in the Magic Kingdom. However, I don't know if I'd prioritize it over some of the bigger attractions. So for me, I'd probably put it a 5 on what I'm going to do at the Magic Kingdom. But for most people, I feel like you can sit it around a 4. Let's just say this. As long as you don't wait in a long line, I don't think anyone's ever going to be mad they rode the People Mover. Sitting pretty at number 12, we have another beloved classic, Dumbo the Flying Elephant. If you're going to do one of these spinner-style attractions in a Disney park, it needs to be Dumbo. It's an opening day attraction, and while it used to be over behind the castle, it was moved over here when they expanded this park, and they actually made 2 Dumbos, dueling Dumbos, so it has more capacity. This is a must do if it's your kid's first visit. I don't care if they're your adult children. Make them ride Dumbo. I promise they'll enjoy it. It is just like sweet, simple Disney magic. That's Dumbo. Dumbo's definitely a must-do for me if you've got little ones or if it is their first visit. Dumbo does have a lightning lane, however, I don't recommend using it on this one. 1, it normally does not have that long of a line because of the 2 Dumbos, and 2, it has the coolest interactive queue of any Disney attraction. Inside, there's a circus-themed play area for little ones. They will let them play the whole time. Parents, you can sit down, enjoy some air conditioning, and then when it's your turn to fly, you'll have a restaurant pager that goes off, and you won't even know you waited in line. So let your kids run around and burn off some energy while you sit down and enjoy some air conditioning. Dumbo for me, the only reason it doesn't rank higher is because it's not as exciting as some of the other attractions on our list, but trust me when I say Dumbo is a delight. For me, if it's my perfect day in Magic Kingdom, there's probably not a long line here and I can jump on it real quick, but if you've got little ones, it's definitely a 5 if you've got little ones, and a 4 for most other people, but it's just such a sweet attraction. Number 11, just barely missing the top 10, is the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh in Fantasyland. This is a family attraction that puts you inside of a honeypot and takes you through a story with the characters from the 100 Acre Wood. Now this one might be a little dicey for some people, but I think this is an often overlooked but adorable attraction. 1, we've already established I love dark rides. I love going into a Disney story. I also love the Winnie the Pooh characters, with Tigger being one of my all-time favorite Disney characters. But this attraction also features a really cool ride vehicle. The honeypot actually moves along with the story. So when you are floating on water, it rocks. At one point, you also bounce with Tigger. It also doesn't normally have too long of a line, especially when you compare it to other attractions in Fantasyland like Peter Pan's Flight. So this is a great one to do with your little ones, especially those that like Winnie the Pooh. It's very cute. It does have a lightning lane. However, you don't need to prioritize this one as much as you would against some of those other more iconic and popular attractions in this park. But Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, for me, I'm going to give it 5 stars. I consider it part of a great day here in the Magic Kingdom. I'd say if you don't have really little ones, you could probably put this at about a 4-star on your must-do list. But it's really cute, and I promise, if you've got little ones or if you like Winnie the Pooh, you're going to love this attraction. Cracking the top 10, we've got Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. And no, it's not just ranked this high because Buzz is my favorite character. I think Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is an excellent attraction for many reasons. It's a great family ride, but it's fun for everyone because it puts you inside of a virtual game with Buzz where you're going to help him and the aliens defeat the evil Emperor Zurg. So you've actually got little trigger guns on your car and you're shooting at real live targets throughout the game to improve your score. So it makes it fun to ride it again and again and again because you want to see if you can best your score and max out that gun to become a galactic hero. It's a great attraction because it is an omni-mover, so it's always moving, so you can usually find it without too long of a line. It will get long at some times, but keep an eye on it. Right now, it's only a 30-minute wait, and it's a pretty busy day in the park, but you can usually get on it without too long of a line, especially earlier in the morning or last thing at night. It does have lightning lane, which I would suggest using if it's in the middle of the day, but this one you don't have to have a lightning lane to excel at this attraction. But for me, it's a longer attraction. It's a lot of fun. You could ride it again and again because you can always keep trying to improve your score and do a better job. Plus, yes, okay, fine. It includes Buzz Lightyear, so I like it even more. Are you happy? But seriously, this is one that I see people riding and smiling on again and again. It's fun to challenge different members of your family to ride it, and it's one that the whole family can enjoy and ride together. So for me, that puts it in a must-do category when you're at the Magic Kingdom, so I'm going to give it a 5. We have cracked the top 10 and now things are really difficult. Honestly, the next 4 on this list, you could put them in a hat, pick them out in any order, and I would agree with you. These are all great attractions, so this is kind of just your top must-dos, but not the top 5, 6 through 9. They're all great. You should do them kind of in no particular order, but when talking to enough people on our team, this is the order that I finalized. So coming in at number 9, the Jungle Cruise here at Adventureland. This is an opening day attraction where you will board a boat with a whimsical skipper and paddle around on 4 rivers around the world. You'll see mechanical animals, but the fun of this attraction comes from the skipper, who's going to tell whimsical, cheesy jokes and puns, and that is why this is a beloved attraction. It's always going to be a little bit different every time you go, but they are still going to deliver some of those iconic lines like the backside of water. The reason this one does end up on the lower end of this top bracket in your must-dos is because this attraction can vary a lot by your skipper. I've had incredible skippers that make me laugh out loud, and then I've had skippers that are just fine. So because of that variability and because of the long wait time, we're putting this one at number 9. Jungle Cruise has a Genie Plus Lightning Lane, and I highly recommend using it if you are purchasing Genie Plus here. This is an incredibly popular attraction with a very slow load and unload, which means the standby line is incredibly impacted by Genie Plus. Right now it's at a 140-minute wait, and this is just a random Wednesday during a slow time of year. So if you are going to ride Jungle Cruise, I recommend prioritizing it first thing in the morning or booking an early Genie Plus Lightning Lane for it. It is a fun attraction. I love that it gets a holiday makeover right now during this time of year. It's called the Jingle Cruise, and it does make me laugh pretty much every time I ride it. It was one of Walt's favorites. It was actually Walt's original idea for Kilimanjaro Safaris, is what led to the Jungle Cruise. So I do think it's a must-do. I think it's an iconic attraction. It's a lot of people's favorite, and it's very beloved. So you got to do the Jungle Cruise, which means 5 stars on the must-ride list for me. In the number 8 slot, we've got another beloved classic, Peter Pan's Flight. This is that charming family ride where you get into a pirate ship, it's sprinkled with pixie dust, and then it's off to Neverland with Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, where you'll see Captain Hook, Mr. Smee, and the whole gang. This is, well, kind of an opening day attraction. It technically opened 2 days later, but it's always considered an opening day attraction by Disney. So it's been delighting guests for over 50 years at this point. It's one I certainly remember very, very vividly from my childhood, just being amazed at the fact that I was flying over London and on my way to Neverland with Peter Pan. It is a shorter attraction, so people tend to not enjoy it because of that. A lot of people say it's overrated because it does have a very, very long line. It's one of the most popular attractions to this day, and especially with Genie Plus, the standby line gets incredibly long. So sure, if you wait in a 70-minute line for a 90-second attraction, it may not be worth it to some people. If you are using Genie Plus, certainly prioritize getting this one. It's very popular and it will fill up. If you're not using Genie Plus, I recommend coming in with early park entry as a resort guest, or possibly jumping on it towards the end of the night when most of the smaller kids have gone home. But for me, this is just like, it makes me smile. It's one of those that you just, it warms your heart and it fills you with pixie dust, and that's cheesy, but that's what Fantasyland is all about. It's a 5 for me. It's definitely a must-do on a perfect Magic Kingdom day. It's a world of laughter, a world of tears. It's a world of hopes. Our number 7 ride is here. I'm outside It's a Small World, which takes the number 7 spot in our ranking. This middle area right here, these are all great, classic, iconic attractions that you absolutely have to do, but Small World comes out very, very high because it is one of the most iconic and beloved attractions in Disney history. It made its debut at the 64-65 New York's World's Fair, where PepsiCo, UNICEF, and Disney partnered together to bring together the story of children all around the world singing a song of hope and friendship. And the message rings true today. I think more people need to actually listen to the lyrics of this song sometimes. Despite the fact I was once stuck on this attraction for 90 minutes, it's an absolute must-do when you're coming to the Magic Kingdom, especially if it's your first time or it's your kid's first time. This is one of those attractions that generation after generation just keeps bringing their family, and it is just so magical and wonderful. Everyone in my family loves this one, and then they love bringing the next generation on. It does have that catchy Sherman Brothers song that will probably get stuck in your head, but I don't want to hear about it. You're welcome. Let that song get stuck in your head. It's an icon. You need to listen to it. This one does have Genie Plus and a Lightning Lane, but it usually doesn't have as long of a line as some of the other attractions in the park. So I recommend watching this one. You can usually get on it pretty quickly without too long of a line, as opposed to things like Peter Pan's Flight. They will have very, very long lines for most of the day. So It's a Small World is going to get 5 stars as well. To me, it is such an iconic attraction that you need to ride, especially on your first visit to the Magic Kingdom. Number 6 coming in hot. This was probably the hardest one to place on the entire list, but it's Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Now this is a very fun coaster. It opened up a few years ago with New Fantasyland, but some people don't love it, and I want to say it's because of the incredibly long lines that often accompany this attraction. It does have a lightning lane, however it is a fancy ride, which means you're paying extra for it on top of that, which also isn't an ideal situation. But looking at the attraction alone, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is great. Not only did they innovate the mine cars themselves, so your coaster not only goes forward, but it swings side to side like a mine car, which is incredibly fun, but it's part coaster and part dark ride, where you actually go into the dwarf's mind, where they have incredible animatronics singing hi-ho. So for those reasons, it's like part dark ride, part thrill ride. It's a great family coaster, 38-inch height requirement. It is an excellent, excellent attraction. If you want to ride this attraction, which I promise you do, Morgan, Quincy, and I were talking about it, and we were like, if we were little kids, this attraction would literally have blown our minds, because we were all big coaster fans back then and still are now. So if you want to ride this attraction, I recommend either going as early as you possibly can, especially if you're a resort guest. Come take advantage of that early park entry and head straight here. If you don't want to get here early or you're not a resort guest, you can consider paying for it with the fancy ride. If you don't want to do that, come last thing at night. You can ride it at night, which again, riding rides at night is so much fun, and you can always jump in line right before the park closes. But this is a great attraction, and one that often is said it's overrated, but I promise when you get on this one, you're gonna have fun and you're gonna smile. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, for me, it's gonna be another 5 stars. It's one of those attractions I don't ride very often because it has such a long line, but every time I do, I come off smiling and I'm so delighted, and I think it's a great family coaster. So for me, it's gonna be a 5 star. Dropping in at number 5, we have our first of the Magic Kingdom mountains, Splash Mountain. This must-do attraction is the one that features a 50-foot drop down into the Briar Patch. Yes, it is a water ride, so some of you might be surprised that I'm ranking it this high, but Splash Mountain is definitely a must-do when you come to the Magic Kingdom, especially if you're trying to conquer that Triple Mountain Challenge. It has some of the iconic characters such as Brer Rabbit, Brer Bear, and Brer Fox, and it features the music that you know and love like Zippity Doo Dah. So it really is a fun attraction. It's a nice long attraction, so even if you wait in a long line, at least you're rewarded with a nice like 12-minute attraction. And it's great because it's part boat, part thrill, part dark ride, and all fun. I'm gonna give Splash Mountain, if you don't mind getting wet, a 5 on the must-ride list. Splash Mountain is also going under refurbishment at some point to be reimagined to include the Princess and the Frog. So it's getting completely overhauled both here and in Disneyland. I am so excited for it. I think it'll kick up how much I like this attraction because I love that movie and I think that music is incredible, and they're doing all new animatronics and an all new story. So we don't know when that'll happen, but be on the lookout. We don't have to go too far to find number 4 on our list, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, also located in Frontierland here in the Magic Kingdom. Now, even though this one just missed the metal platform, this is one of my favorite attractions in the park. I love sitting in the back row of this attraction. If it's not too busy, you may be able to ask and ride requests, but if it's busy, they may not be able to accommodate you. But this attraction is really great. It's a step up from the Barnstormer or Mine Train, so it's next on your list when you're introducing your younger ones to coasters. But I have a great time as an adult. You all know what I sound like when I ride this attraction because I love sitting in the back where you get flung around like the tail end of a snake. This one also does have a lightning lane. It's incredibly popular, so I recommend booking it and prioritizing this if you do have Genie Plus. If you don't have Genie Plus, it will drop sometimes. It tends to drop a little bit lower than Splash Mountain, so just keep an eye on it. It's a great one to do in the morning, or again, this one is really fun at night, especially when you look out and see the castle all lit up. It's a 5 for me. It's definitely a must-do. Coming in at number 3, the bronze medalist on our ranking, one of my all-time favorite Disney attractions, Space Mountain. Now, Space Mountain completes our Triple Mountain Challenge, and it is that roller coaster in the dark where you sit in a rocket and you fly through space. I giggle every time I ride this attraction because it makes me feel like a little kid. I remember riding this growing up, and it is still so much fun. It does have a 44-inch height requirement, which is the tallest height requirement in this park. It's also a fancy ride, so if you want to skip the line, you're going to have to pay additional. But I find that you don't normally need to. Even right now, it's a busy day, and it only has a 35-minute wait compared to a lot longer lines over at attractions like Big Thunder and Splash Mountain. But Space Mountain is such an amazing attraction, and what I especially love about it is while a lot of things at Magic Kingdom are imports from Disneyland, this one is a Magic Kingdom original. It opened in 1975 and it opened up here first. It was later added to Disneyland. So to me that makes it special because its home was the Magic Kingdom. But this attraction is so much fun. Some people complain that you need a chiropractor after, and it is impossible to get out of the seats gracefully, but I laugh and I giggle and I have so much fun every time I ride this attraction. So for me, this is an absolute must-do and hands down the best thrill ride in this park. Coming in the number 2 spot, our silver medalist, my favorite ride in the park, Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean is a quintessential Disney ride. It's iconic. It's a family ride. There's no height requirement on this one either. Anybody can enjoy this one, but it does have a little thrill because there's a small drop. And of course, just the nature of being around pirates is thrilling. But they've updated it since it opened in 1973. They've added in characters from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, like Captain Jack Sparrow. So it's always fresh and fun for new generations to ride it as well. Turns out they were asking, where's Captain Jack? Why isn't he on the ride based on the movie? They didn't realize the ride actually came first, so they added it in. And it's just a great example of Disney updating attractions to stay relevant and keep more and more generations interested. But this is one of my all-time favorite attractions in any Disney park. Again, it's my favorite ride here. It's got that iconic song, Yo Ho, Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for me. And to me, again, this is just what a Disney ride's all about. It's something everybody in the family can enjoy. It's a boat ride, which is a classic Disney form of transportation, but it's still thrilling and exciting no matter your age. So Pirates of the Caribbean, 5 stars, takes the silver. And here it is, friends, your gold medal winner, number 1 on the list, the absolute must-do, the most iconic attraction in all of Walt Disney World. Do you know where I'm standing? I bet you do. Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Haunted Mansion. That's right, there is no more iconic attraction in Disney parks than the Haunted Mansion. This is an opening day attraction, which means it's been sending chills up and down your spines where hinges creak in doorless chambers for over 50 years. This is an absolute must-do when you come to the Magic Kingdom. Like I said, I don't think there's a more iconic or beloved attraction in Disney park lore anywhere. It doesn't have a height requirement, so the whole family can enjoy this one, but of course it does have a little bit of thrill because of the nature of the storyline. But it's still fun and whimsical, and it's got that iconic Grim Grinning Ghost song. I think for me, one of the things that makes the Haunted Mansion so special, not only is it a great attraction, and again, this has been around for over 50 years, and the effects are relatively still the same because they are simple but genius effects that have worked decade after decade. So it not only shows off the prowess of the original Imagineers, but there is so much detail in this attraction. I did a whole video just on this attraction and all the lore and the backstory and the fun things to look for, but one of my favorite is right here in the back of the Pet Cemetery. You will see your friend and mine, J. Thaddeus Toad. Don't tell Duckfist that he's here, but they added Mr. Toad to the Pet Cemetery after Mr. Toad's Wild Ride closed. And while you can't read the epitaph, the rumor says that it reads, "Here lies Toad, sad but true, not as marketable as Winnie the Pooh." This attraction is incredibly popular because, again, it is the most beloved attraction in all of Walt Disney World, so it can get a very long line. It does tend to move quickly, though, because it's that Omnimover system that never stops moving unless they slow it down. However, I do still recommend if you are going to purchase Genie Plus in this park, definitely go for the Haunted Mansion. It'll help save you an hour or so. If you don't purchase Genie Plus, this is a great one to do within the first part of the day, or it can drop in the evening as well. Haunted Mansion, no questions asked. You already know. 5 stars, an absolute must ride from me. And don't worry if you haven't been writing this down, friends. We've got the whole list ready to go, easy printable for you next time you're planning for Magic Kingdom. Just head to this website right here, sign up for our free newsletter, and that list will come straight to your inbox. Well, friends, that is a wrap on our ranking all of the rides here at the Magic Kingdom. It was really, really difficult because this park is full of some of the most beloved attractions in all of Disney history. So let me know what you think. If you think something's ranked too high, if you think something's ranked too low, go fight for your favorites down in the comments. We're going to keep doing these at the other parks, so get ready for those as well. In the meantime, friends, make sure to rate, review, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media at AllEars.net, and until next time, I'm Molly, and it's been magical.
Want to see more of my videos? Click over here. Want to subscribe? You can do that right here. And also, ring that notification bell to make sure you get instantly notified anytime we post a new video. Thanks for following. See you real soon.